It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 397. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. We had a question. Somebody reached out to you with a question.
Yes.
And you won the Clip Out lottery. We're going to answer your question right on the top of the show.
I'm going to
Huntle W02.
I thought it was Hunt Lou.
Oh, well, I like Huntle W.
Okay. Well, whichever it is, they are requesting some kind of discussion about these Peloton programs and that they really like the selections, but that it's impossible to find on Peloton's schedule or to complete on Peloton's schedule. And here's the deal. They're absolutely right. A few things about that. I think we're going to talk about it later in the show. But Nikki wrote an article just last week talking about...
Actually, we're going to talk about that in the bonus.
Oh, then I'm going to do it now. Then the difference between a program and a collection. And we've talked about this before in an article, but we took it a step further with this and gave some more specific examples about programs and how they're a little bit different. But here's the thing about a Peloton program. If you sign up for one, the next class doesn't unlock until you complete the first class. You can only skip one. Now, the next week goes forward whether or not you finish. And now there's no way to go backwards.
Oh.
Yeah. It's completely inflexible with life. And
that's given a polite way to say stupid.
Given that this is this whole solution of working out was for busy adults.
Right.
It's like shocking that it's that bad.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, but the collections and the programs are listed with no way to filter. So there's just this long list of whichever one is at the top is at the top. And the only way, by the way, for most of these classes that are in programs that you can actually link to them is if you've taken the class, it's in your history, then you can link to it. Other than that, you can't link to it. So you can't even easily share it with people. So they have done, I get that they're trying to lay out a rhythm and they don't want people to overdo it, hurt themselves, yada, yada, yada. Get it.
Yeah.
Got that. But it doesn't actually help anything because they have this very easy workaround. And by easy, I just mean it's easy to access, but it's also a pain in the ass. Right. So it's just Byzantine.
It's like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. And then when you, like I said, you go into the programs, you go into the collections, and there's just this ginormous list. So you can't just be like, okay, show me all of Rad's collections. Show me all of Mariana's. It doesn't exist. You can't, there's no way to filter on them. And there's no way to be like, show me just the strength collection. Show me just Power Zone collections. Show me just Power Zone programs. Nope. Now, collections were just meant to be a group of classes, but some instructors, due to the rigidity of programs, have started actually including programs in the collection area. Andy Spear did this last year, and it's super helpful, the density training, because then it's a collection of classes you take as you get to them, and you just take them. But then if there is a rhythm or there's instruction that you need to know what you got to do, well, either the person who's recording it has to say it at the beginning of every class, or you got to go find that instructor's Instagram channel and find wherever they wrote about that and hope to God it wasn't on a story because those are only up for 24 hours. It's like, I swear Peloton just wants to just shoot themselves in the foot with this one thing. And this one thing is stop making it so goddamn hard for us to take your classes, because people want to progress. And I have no idea why, but since the beginning, it has been anti-progression, and I don't get it. So when this person asks about it, that is why they are so terrible. That is why it's so frustrating. There is no emphasis.
Not in your head.
No. People, I get dozens of messages about this every month where people are like, why? Why are they doing this? Why is it so crowded? Why can't I find this? Why can't I find that? Why can't I just make a list of the classes I want to take? I don't know. But It needs to be fixed. Hopefully it's on their project, their little runway, whatever they call that, roadmap. But who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. So Huntley, W02.
Or Hunt Lou. I like Hunt Lou.
That was mine.
No, I don't think it was.
You're going to take it back? Well, whichever. You are not alone. And it is very frustrating. And hopefully they will change it someday.
But probably not, based on experience. So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we have an interview with Tyler Plank. Now, Tyler, she is a yoga instructor and she's a Peloton fanatic. So she has an interesting view on not only instructor-led yoga classes from Peloton, but also the entire platform. So that was a fun conversation and looking forward to that. We also have a bunch of different news. Peloton just dropped their expansion to Teams. There was the leaked marketing campaign we found for LA Fitness partnership. And then I am so shocked about the Peloton OG who lost their leaderboard name. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about Peloton's LA Wildfires charity drive. And then they added Best Western Plus. They already had Best Western, but they added Plus to the hotel brand.
Everybody's a plus these days.
I know. Next earnings call has been announced. We have a visit from Dr. Jenn, and she specifically talks about her experience with the LA fires, her update, and just in general, some things that people should know. We also have a whole bunch of updates on instructors. Jenn Sherman with Bruce Springsteen, Olivia Amato looking for a personal assistant. We've just got all this stuff. In addition to all those things, we're going to talk about the newest artist series so people can get all riled up. We've got a Kristen McGee update. We also have celebrity sightings. We have past guest updates, lots of content to discuss. And I think that is all.
Okay. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn. Wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. If you want to support the show, if you got $5, we want to take your $5, but we'll give you something for it over at patreon.com/theclipout. What do you get? Well, you get ad-free episodes. If we get it early, you get it early, and you get bonus episodes. Every week we record a whole other episode with just stuff we didn't have time to get to in this one. And woof, it's a lot this week. This episode's a lot, and then the bonus is a lot. And we're going to be over there talking about, is your tech trapping you? We'll talk about where our instructor Spotify playlists going. Some of them are disappearing, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more about the difference between programs and splits.
Sorry.
And then of course all sorts of extra instructor news, where you can hear them on other podcasts, where you can maybe meet them in real life if you happen to live near those areas, or if you just have lots of frequent flyer miles. I mean, hey, go for it. Who are we to judge? And then you can also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Don't forget our website, theclipout.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter. We will send you all of these links. And and you can watch us over on YouTube. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton continues its quixotic goal to be a social media platform as Teams expands.
Yeah. So Teams is a platform that Peloton put out last year. I think it was late last year, second half of last year anyway. And the idea being that you can kind of gather your group of friends, you can take classes together, you can celebrate milestones together. But in addition to that, you can also have like goals that you're working on together and have some friendly competition. So today, Peloton announced that they are going to have expanded communities. So now Teams can host up to 50,000 members. They have a way to explore teams. So you're going to be able to discover teams you might want to join or be interested in, ones that are based on popularity, profile tags, featured community teams, or you can search by team name and description. There's also going to be interactive engagement where you can celebrate your teammates' milestones using emoji reactions and comments. That's where the platform starts to come in, right? Okay. Then you have public accessibility, so you can create public teams that other Peloton members can join instantly with team content visible to all participants. Don't worry, you can still block the no problem. Custom goals. Team administrators can now set unique leaderboard goals, including distances for running, walking, cycling, and rowing, instead of before it was kind of like across all of them. You couldn't break it out by discipline.
Oh, okay.
And then enhanced admin controls. So there's going to be new tools for managing challenges, assigning secondary admins, and overseeing large teams. At the moment, it's like you get one admin, whoever started it up, you have control over everything. So this is going to allow it to be very similar to a Facebook group where you can assign people to be able to take care of things. So basically, Peloton has been working on this for years. You know, I remember all the way back to 2018 hearing rumors about beta tests and questionnaires where people were asked questions about what would you be involved in a Peloton social platform. And so clearly they are still headed in that direction. So I guess slowly but surely they're going to get there. It is a good time from the standpoint of a lot of people are leaving social media. Yeah. There's a lot of really shitty platforms being run by really shitty people right now. So I guess that's good. But on the flip side of it, you know, I'm not really sure how Peloton is planning to restrict things because, like, I mean, judging by how my Selena Gomez post went over on the OPP, like, you're not going to get rid of those people. You know, you can't. And so if it's going to be all internal, what are they going to do? I
feel like the new move is just they gave you the ability to block people and block hashtags. So, like, if you don't like it, block it. They're done playing that game for you.
Which I get.
Well, I get too. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
The racists are exhausting.
Yes.
And
misogynists, racists, basically anyone who's just mean to other people. Yeah. They're just and I totally respect their right to say things, but I don't want to see the things they say. It's like, why don't you just go talk to your other racist, misogynist friends and talk to them?
Respect their right to
yeah, absolutely. So I don't know what Peloton's thoughts are on that, but I see this being a problem long term because it's going to get ugly.
I will say in Peloton's defense, and God knows they need one, that it's if you try to tamp it down, they just come up with different stupid ways.
Oh, they do.
To get around it. And then they snicker at that. And it's just like they're just children.
They are.
Yeah. Which is insulting because children at least grow up.
That's true. What a great point. They are not arrested at whatever maturity age as these people are. But it's still going to create a problem because if you're running a team, then let's say that, you know, person X has been nice to Susie running your admin group. And, you know, but you know, person X is a complete jerk. Well, I mean, now what do you do? Who's the one making that call?
I think that's why Peloton's like, you figure it out.
Yeah. But my point is you're bringing that into their own platform.
Yeah.
And as we're going to talk about later with the way that they are censoring things like leaderboard names, but they don't censor their own Facebook page is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I just think this is going to end up being a problem because you're going to have a report feature, or if you don't, what is the point?
Right.
Why are you even here?
Yeah.
You could only say positive comments, maybe? I don't know. I'm really curious to see how they end up handling that.
Agreed. In a Clip Out exclusive, a leaked marketing campaign has revealed Peloton's LA Fitness partnership is close to going live.
Yeah, we talked about a few weeks ago that one of our listeners had spotted on social media that there were Instagram videos showing footage of kind of what looked like a Peloton room at an LA Fitness.
Yeah, like a branded room.
Yeah. And so we thought, is that going to be part of a larger partnership? We talked about that on the show a couple weeks ago. But then last week or sometime in the last week, I can't remember what day, then after that happened, there was the company who made a spot for this partnership that hasn't gone live yet.
The marketing company.
It's called Inkblot.
Yeah.
So they put part of their portfolio, they put this spot they made for Peloton out there on their website. Well, unfortunately, anything's very easy to find on the internet. And so somebody found it and then posted it out on Twitter. And then, one of our listeners saw that and reached out to us. And that really confirms it. I'm sure Peloton will not like that's out there. But then you guys have no trouble, Peloton, telling us to not do something. Yeah. So you guys should probably use that same with all of the other people you work with.
People that actually work for you.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I don't know that it's really that big of a deal that it got leaked because they had already allowed things out on social media.
If the room has already been built and the public can access it,
then how are you keeping people from photographing it and putting it on Instagram in the first place? So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I am excited to see what it involves and what it's going to look like and how many gyms it's going to include. I think this is a good thing for Peloton. I think it's a smart thing. It's people who already enjoy fitness and it's people who are already at the gym having access to the equipment. I think it's smart. I think it's a really good idea.
Absolutely, guys. They're seeing more and more people want to exercise in real life. This is a way to bring them into the Peloton ecosystem, even if they don't want to put a bike in their basement.
Absolutely.
So a Peloton OG has been a Peloton user for a decade.
Yeah.
Been using a leaderboard name for 9 years. Like if you're watching on YouTube, the screen post you're seeing is him talking about selecting his new leaderboard name in the OPP back in 2016.
Yeah.
So that predates the clip out.
It does.
So if you're like, what loser's talking about their leaderboard name in the OPP? Because you would never do that today.
No.
Like today, you'd be like, oh my God, they're just going to destroy you. That's not what the OPP was like back then.
No, it was so delightful as it used to be back then.
And so he had changed his name to Bust a Nut.
Yes.
And he has used that name on, I gotta assume, thousands of rides.
Well, not just rides. And he has a row. He's taken other classes. Absolutely. And he's part of the Jensmen. Yeah. He was the individual that just got married recently that Jenn Sherman gave a huge personal shout out to, that was recorded and played at their wedding.
Yeah, this is a well-known member to Peloton instructors and personnel. And I guess someone reported his name after 9 years of usage.
That was reported. I get that. I get Peloton has to take that seriously. But what is crazy to me is that everyone remembers all the stories about when Kendall Toole was still at Peloton. She would make these faces and say these leaderboard names like a Simpsons commercial, like a Simpsons episode, and then be like, oh, you got me. That was her spiel.
Right.
She complained about them. Everyone remembers droopy balls. It was Drew P. Balls. Okay. There are literally today 3 pages of droopy balls knockoffs out there.
Yeah.
One Bust a Nut, and that got taken down. But then Peloton was like, we're going to double down, because Busta was like, hey, you know what I should do? I should create a hashtag and get everybody's awareness around it. And we should all just try to get Peloton's attention and raise awareness to how important this is to me. Because Peloton did not even have the decency to reach out to him.
He just logged in one day and his name was Peloton 69042.
Yeah. So he changed it to free Busted Nut. And then he added a hashtag, which several people joined very quickly.
And free Busted Nut should be great, because I think we all agree that you probably shouldn't be paying to bust a nut.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So then Peloton removed the hashtag and they removed his new leaderboard name. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Again, Peloton, you guys can't even censor the OPP. People are literally saying things like deport him or f this person, and you're not okay with Bust a Nut when it's been there for 9 years. What the holy is happening at this company? I'm so frustrated at them.
I can tell.
Oh my God. That's
yeah, it's very weird.
It is so weird.
Yeah.
It is so incredibly weird. It is signs of the times. I am okay with somebody being offended by that name. It's not they get to be offended by whatever they're offended by. But the tags that exist out there that are so much more offensive on both sides of the political spectrum are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. But bust a nut, we better take down. Yeah. Oh my God, grow up. God. Ugh.
We have an update on Peloton's LA Wildfires charity drive.
Yes. Peloton is collaborating with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment, Always Alpha, and the women's sports community. Peloton Studio New York donation site. They collected over 4,000 essential items for women affected by the LA wildfires. And that, of course, comes back to the Peloton community.
Yeah.
The people. So that's nice that there are so many wonderful people in the community.
Best Western Plus has been added to the Peloton Hotel program.
Yes. And right now there are, as of the other day, there were only 2 listed. As I said earlier at the beginning during the intro, Best Western has definitely been part of the hotel program, but Best Western Plus has not. So we felt it was important to let people know.
Absolutely.
It's great that they continue to expand that.
The next earnings call has been announced.
It has. It is going to take place on Thursday, February 6th. At 8:30 a.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Well, we will be sure to give you all the updates on that earnings call to see.
Yes, because we won't be on a plane this time.
Yes, that makes it so much easier.
It does. Yeah.
And coming up after this, we're going to check in with Dr. Jenn. She is obviously stationed out in Los Angeles and has been personally putting out fires. No, she is not. She would not want to steal those people's credit.
No, she would not. She would not.
She is in the thick of it out in Los Angeles, and she's going to give us an update on how it's been looking from her end. So stick around.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, I am so glad to have you here. And, I have had several people reach out to me and ask me how you are doing because you live right in the middle of all of these crazy fires. How are things going for you personally? Like, I know it's just out there.
Yeah. Look, it has been it's been very rough. And I'm one of the very fortunate ones. We're in Beverly Hills. We're in between a lot of the fires. We've been on evacuation alert on and off for now weeks. We were on evacuation alert to pack up our stuff. And we were fortunate enough to have that alert. Just like most people in LA, I have about a dozen friends and clients who have lost their homes, who have lost everything. And it is incredibly heartbreaking. And when you haven't lost your home, you feel incredibly guilty that you still have your home. And there's this kind of survivor guilt that there's some people who are on a street where all the houses burn down except their house. And then there are other people who are just not in the neighborhood who feel guilty. It is incredibly stressful. We're also we all now kind of live and die by the wind and by this app that's called Fire Watch that everyone, it constantly has alerts going off. So we're in this like disaster zone and we are kind of trying to make the best of it and live our lives and do our jobs and focus on things that we have to focus on. And at the same time, everyone has their own, as we say in Yiddish, mishigas, their own stuff that they're struggling with, their own relationship issues, their own parenting issues, their own health issues, their own parents who are not well issues, like their own financial issues, like all of the issues. It's like everyone's got their stuff. And then now on top of that, there's a disaster. And a lot of the people who I have spoken to, especially in the Palisades, and if you're not familiar with LA, the Palisades it's not that far from Malibu, but it's way more in town. And so we've had so many fire alerts over the last few years. Most of the people I've talked to, especially in the Palisades, were like, oh, we got an evacuation alert and we figured, oh, we'll be gone for 2 days. We'll have a staycation somewhere, and didn't take the photo albums, the love letters, there are just so many people who have lost just these irreplaceable emotional pieces of their history, and it's heartbreaking. And literally, I think everyone I've talked to at this point so far has been like, yeah, I grabbed a few things thinking that I was going away for a couple of days, and it's heartbreaking. And it's also terrible to see that there are some people who are like, oh, well, these are wealthy people, so it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in all this. Loss is loss. Loss is painful. And to lose things that had so much meaning to you is devastating. And if you're someone who's kind of taking that perspective, at the very least, then I would hope you would have compassion that all those people oftentimes employ other people who are now out of work. Like, there's such a ripple effect. There's such a massive ripple effect. And it's really, really challenging. On the positive side, LA has come together in such a beautiful way. So many people are donating goods, donating clothes, donating new stuff, really just reaching out to help people in need. And that's a really beautiful thing. And it's hard to fully grasp that the magnitude of what's happening here is so massive, and it's so unprecedented in Los Angeles. Like, there's never been such a catastrophic fire in multiple places. And it's been tough, and I feel very fortunate, and it's tough.
We've just been thinking about you guys nonstop, because from here, so far away, I mean, yes, we can donate money, but we can't do anything. And it's like to just sit here and helplessly watch the devastation. And it's one thing to know how you feel, but it sucks that like we can't like go, here's what you need, here's how you can feel better. Like and I have no idea how you're functioning with your day to day. Like, I don't even know how you're like in the right headspace to be like, let's record some segments. I have no idea how you're even doing that.
I mean, look, for me, what I do is be of service to people. And so I feel like anything I can do to be of service helps ground me, helps me feel good. And again, I'm very fortunate that right now I'm in an evacuation warning zone. I'm not evacuated. And I have friends who are evacuated, who are like showing up and like making food for people and donate. It's like the least I could do, there are just so many amazing people in Los Angeles who have lost far more than me and who are stepping up and just are so incredible helping others. It's a beautiful thing to see.
I feel like the big difference is, every region of the country has its own natural disaster that it has to contend with, whether it's hurricanes or tornadoes, floods,
earthquakes.
Yeah. But
you guys get those too, though.
Yeah. But I feel like the difference with
we get it all.
Yeah. I feel like
hurricanes.
Yeah. I feel like the difference with the fires is that typically the disaster in question, the damage it does last a long time, but the actual moment of the disaster is normally 18 hours, maybe 36 hours.
Yeah.
A hurricane's coming, a hurricane's gone, and now you contend with it. Where with the fires, it just
keeps
on going. Yeah.
It's a great point. It's a really great point. And that heightened alert has all of us.
Your cortisol levels have got to be
like the collective anxiety and I don't know if you guys heard, but the app that Los Angeles got a false evacuation alert to basically every citizen in Los Angeles. So everyone was like, oh my God, I have to evacuate. And like, I have a neighbor who was like refusing to pack. And that was the thing that put her over the edge. So I think in that case, it was kind of good because she was like, I'm not packing. It was like, we're on alert. Like, you need to pack. Like, so I think that that level of kind of heightened anxiety of what's going to happen next. And then also seeing these horrific, disgusting piece of crap people who are starting new fires, who are looting homes that have been evacuated. Like, it's just disgusting. I mean, like, that is, it's kind of soul crushing to see someone who is that lacking in ethics and morality and any kind of grounding in like humanity. It's really very discouraging and sad, but you have to kind of, like Mr. Rogers said, you got to look for the helpers. You got to look for the people who are doing good if you're going to keep yourself sane.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. Are there even enough places for people to like stay and go to with all these evacuations?
It's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I don't know of people. I haven't seen news stories about people who are being turned away from evacuation shelters, but eventually, like, they can't stay open forever.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of people in interviews saying, like, I didn't have insurance, or my insurance dropped me, or I couldn't get insurance, and now I have nowhere to go. And that's going to be a whole other massive problem.
Yeah, well, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad that your family's well. And I know that you are dealing with guilt, but just like you must be okay for a reason, and it is to help other people. And it sucks, all the people going through it. Like there's no way to put a brush on that and make it okay, because it's just not.
Yeah. It's a challenging time in Los Angeles, and I really do believe at the end we will persevere and we will overcome and we will be okay, but it's going to be a long journey.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that really relies on the kindness and the humanity of the wonderful people of Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, next time we will be back in your wheelhouse of letting you talk about other people's problems. So until then, where can people find you?
Yes. On social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man. And I've done a lot of posts about the fires to give people tips for their mental health and tips for kids and how to cope and all of that stuff.
Yeah, you've had some very, very helpful things out there. So keep alerting me if I don't share them, because I want to make sure I share all the things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
Jenn Sherman got to spend a little quality time with her favorite rock star of all time.
Yeah, if you know anything about Jenn Sherman, you know that Bruce Springsteen is
her monkeys.
Yeah. I mean, for real. And now she has gotten to meet him before, but she has told the story, it on this show. And she did not get to have the interaction of her dreams like that she really wanted to have. So a fellow community Peloton member made that happen for her.
How about that?
And she had lots of footage and a reel about it. And she was very, very excited. And it looks like Bruce Springsteen was very kind and very nice to her. Like, he's clearly like, yeah, show me more. That's pretty cool.
Olivia Amato is looking for a personal assistant, part-time. Don't quit your job.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But she is looking for somebody who is media savvy, has flexible hours, but you got to love dogs.
And live in the New York, Brooklyn area.
Yes, must be based in that area.
I don't know. Does Brooklyn have any social media people? I don't know that it does.
Oh, gee. I don't know. That seems difficult to find.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Let's hope she finds somebody.
God, I can't even imagine what her DMs look like after posting something like that.
She was like, DM the word interested. So it's, one of those automatic reply things, but it just cracked me up.
Yeah.
It's like she probably had like 600 applications.
That's the only way that could be worse is if you just solicited for dick pics.
I'm sure she gets unsolicited, sadly.
Yeah, most women do.
Facts.
Robin Arzón shared a pic on the gram from her first ever Peloton class. It's sepia tone.
It's not, but it is 11 years old, which is crazy. I mean, that's how time works. But
even older than Bust-a-Nut.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is pretty neat to see her first class, like see footage from it. There's so little that exists on social media from that time.
Yeah.
And what it does exist, we have mined and made into our timeline.
Right.
There's a lot out there. So on our timeline. So if you have interest and want to go see that, it is at theclipout.com/timeline.
Allie Love and Aditi Shah were at the Sundance Film Festival.
They were pairing up with Hyatt. So this appears to be another one of these collaborations that we have multiple synergies happening. And the interesting thing about this particular one is that we had seen a few weeks ago that there were going to be Sundance classes. They were listed on the schedule. Mm-hmm. But the day of the classes, they disappeared off the schedule. It was like they were only placeholders. And if you tried to take the class, you couldn't. You could only take the class if you were there.
That's weird.
So why didn't you guys just put it up there as placeholders in the first place? Like, don't make it sound like you can join if you can't join. I just thought that was so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird way to do that.
Very odd.
But there were a couple classes that did take place. Lots of posters. Lots of posts about the different classes, and pictures from the event occurred. And I think it is another like smart synergy collaboration happening. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Good for Sundance getting all that publicity.
They do okay.
They do.
Erik Jäger took to the gram to show off his dog bite.
Yeah.
And try to find the perfect purple shorts to match the bruising.
He's really doubling down on this purple thing he's got going on. Purple is apparently his favorite color, and he did a whole post about that a couple weeks ago. But now he's matching with the dog bite. Yeah. So I'm glad he's okay.
Big dog bite.
It is a big dog bite.
That's not like a little nip. Like
No.
he got chomped on.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glad he's okay. I don't know. Might have just been an excuse for Erik to post in shorts. Today he posted in a towel, so he knows what he's doing.
Where'd the dog bite you? Jess King has launched getontherecord.com.
Yeah, we talked about this forever ago that this was coming, that a platform was coming, and I'm sure these things take months to put in fruition, especially when you have like a real job full time in addition to all that. So it is finally live. This entire platform is supposed to be she calls it a manifestation of finding a place, like an identity, a place where as a queer woman and a creative, she didn't fit into a box. So that's what this space is to be a space for people who do not feel like they fit into any other space.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that is a success for her. And more importantly, all the people who need that space.
Well, as a cishet white guy, I'll sure be run over there and start complaining about it.
Yeah.
You created a space I can't be.
You should, Tom.
I am appalled.
And I hope they delete your comments.
I do too. And if you like Becs Gentry, Becs Beasts has launched an online store.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They've got all kinds of Becs Beast gear that you can get, from pants, tank tops, t-shirts, hoodies. It's a whole bunch of different options for you, all with the Becs Beast crew logo. And in addition to that, I'm just going to add here, seems like a good place to add it, that the new Brittany Allen Becs Beast design also went live today. It's a sports bra that you can get in 7 different designs, and it is $98 if you're buying in the US. And I bought the last design. It was beautiful. Yeah. This design is beautiful too. All the members voted out of several different designs, and this is the one that was community picked.
Oh, so that's really cool.
It is really cool.
Coming up after this, we're going to talk about the latest artist series and why weirdos are mad about it. And we're also going to give you an update on Kristen McGee and Tonal. So sit tight.
Peloton Artist Collaborations.
The latest artist series features Selena Gomez. Who
it sure does.
I now know who she is because of Only Murders in the Building.
Man, that's such a great show.
It is a great show.
I love that show.
I already know who she is because I am close personal friends with Mr. Larry Tate from Wizards of Waverly Place.
I was like, that's true. You are. And you guys have been friends like how long? Like you guys have been friends for what, 40 years now?
30. Yeah, 30 plus years.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overshoot your...
Yeah. We used to do stand-up together.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And he's a real nice guy. But
Super nice guy. His name is Bill Cott, by the way, his real name.
Yes.
You've seen him in many things. He was, if you watch This Is Us, he was the mailman.
The mailman.
He was only in one scene of This Is Us.
But it's such a
It
scene.
became such a memorable, iconic scene when the mailman showed up and just started crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. That's one of my favorite scenes. Not just because Bill Cott was in it, because it genuinely was just such a great scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in lots of stuff.
Yeah, he was on The Big Bang, not The Big Bang Theory. He was on Young Sheldon.
Yes.
He was on Freaks and Geeks. He was the Spanish teacher in Freaks and Geeks. He was on an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Third Rock from the Sun. He was a cast member on The Dana Carvey Show.
Yeah. He did a great impression of the guy who ran. I can't think
Tim
of his
Walz.
name. Yeah. Thank you, Tim Walz.
He played Tim Walz on the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Yeah.
But it's Selena Gomez.
It is Selena Gomez.
Is your artist. It's enough about Bill Cott. He does not have an artist series.
He does not.
But
if he did, I would totally be down for that.
And I would wish him well. But Selena Gomez has an artist series.
She does, yeah. And there are going to be several classes that are going to be happening. I want to say four, no, more than that, way more than that. That's why I waited. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 different classes, including an outdoor walk and run, yoga, bar, ride, run, row, and another ride in German. Lots of great options to take these classes. They all are going to either be on demand or live on the 30th. So by the time you hear this, they will already be there and waiting for you. But boy, are people hateful.
Yeah.
I guess she posted some video.
Your feelings crowd sure had a lot of feelings.
Oh my God. So she posted a video about that she was upset about people who were being deported. And then she took the video down. And I can't tell from their whining if they're upset that she removed the video or if they're upset that she cried in the video. Maybe both.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, the hateful comments. I mean, a lot of people really showed who they are in the Clip Out group, unfortunately, but also over on the OPP, I was real surprised.
Were you?
Well, I was surprised the comments that Peloton allowed to stay up. That's what I was surprised.
Yeah.
But I know the world keeps being more polarized. I understand why it continues to get more polarized, but it's a really sad state of affairs. But I like Selena Gomez, and, you know, I will be taking as many of these classes in support of her as I can, even if they're just running on my app, because anything I can do to support people who are good human beings, I will do.
Checking out the competition.
So last week, we talked about Kristen McGee and Tonal.
We did.
And then
there were updates.
We had to untalk about Kristen McGee and Tonal.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into any of the legal details because that is not my contract to discuss. That would be unfair to Kristen.
Yep.
But I will say that it is super fascinating to me that she has done so many classes. She has taught at Canyon Ranch. She has taught at Equinox. She has taught at lots of places in person. And just to be clear, these classes were going to be in person at Tonal. Peloton had no issues with those. But for some reason, when Tonal came up, they had an issue with it. And suddenly that was too much.
Next thing you know, they had their leggings in a bunch.
They sure did. They sure did. So sadly, those classes will no longer be taking place. The Tonal Lab remains open, Tonal Training Lab.
Sure.
And it will be through the end of February. There's still lots of great classes happening. There's going to be really cool special guests. They will no longer involve Kristen McGee, to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
But I'm real sad for Kristen. I'm real sad for Tonal. And I'm real sad that Peloton decided to take that action. It was not their finest moment.
Yeah. And, I know that was truncated, but you can't help but wonder if that means in the not too distant future, we will see Kristen McGee and Tonal doing things.
I mean, that would be real cool. We know we won't see anything until at least June because the non-compete goes until then. But, I think I have a feeling probably in June, we're going to see wherever Kristen is landing, we're going to see where Kendall is landing. I don't know if Ross is going, Ross sounded like he was doing a lot of things that weren't necessarily like traditional job things.
He wasn't looking to land.
No, he wasn't. So I don't know that we'll see him anywhere specific, but I think that by June, the end of June, we will have a much better idea of how this all pans out. And that's really not that far away. 6 months, especially with the world changing as quickly as it is. I think that's going to feel like a blink. I think we'll have answers real fast.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
Andy McDowell was on the Drew Barrymore show talking about piriformis syndrome.
Yes,
did I say that right?
Yeah, you did. You did.
And also about Peloton.
Yeah, so we've included her on the celebrity sighting list before.
Have we? I couldn't remember.
It was a long time ago, but we did. And so piriformis syndrome, it can cause pain or numbness like in your butt and down the back of your legs. And so a lot of people might think about the sciatic nerve. You could get the same kind of pain from, I think they're connected. I don't want to misspeak though. I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But the piriformis muscle is what's running along there, and the muscle is spasming, and that's what's compressing that sciatic nerve. So that's why they're connected. So she was talking about that she had been, spending a lot of time on the Peloton, and that it created a knee pain, a hip pain for her, and then kind of ended, culminated with this piriformis syndrome, and that she's really having to work hard to come out of that and change the way she's been approaching movement and exercise. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, for sure. So Peloton has popped up in a couple different streaming shows over the last week or so. So the first one was brought to everyone's attention, courtesy of Katie Wong. She was watching Traitors, which streams on Peacock in the US. I believe it's a BBC show for those of you in the UC. And I guess one of the people on the show mentions Peloton at some point. She was very excited.
Yes, she was.
That. And then, not to be outdone, Netflix actually features the original Peloton bike in season 2, episode 1 of Night Agent.
Yeah.
And
I don't know anything about that show.
I think it's a spy show maybe, but
okay.
But that was brought to our attention courtesy of Mary Kiefner.
Yeah, and she posted this on her personal page, but she has posted items about Peloton before, and she shared stuff with us. Like, she was the one that told us about the cool camera over in the Peloton studio when that first came up. That was Mary.
Awesome.
Past guest update.
So not a past guest update, but I didn't know where to put this. So this is a past topic that a guest is giving us an update about.
Okay.
So there we go. It's where we're at. So Paul Olek gave us some information. We were talking last week about Grandma's Marathon, and we were like, why the hell is it called that?
Yeah.
And I guess that's the name of a restaurant.
It is. Yeah. And I have to add here that one of our Patreon members also reached out with an update about this. And you talk about this one, and I'll pull this one up.
So Paul says that his wife and he have ran the Grandma's Marathon twice, and he's showing off either both of his medals or his and her medals, judging
both because it's 2 different years.
Oh, I see. Okay. So I guess I see 34, 35. I don't know how to read medals. I've never gotten one.
I mean, I have, but I'm glad you paid no attention whatsoever.
I got it framed, didn't I?
Yeah, but you didn't look at it.
Well, they just shipped it to me and I wrapped it. But anyway, he told us it's named for the sponsor restaurant, and that the course follows the north shore of Lake Superior and then finishes down by the lake in Duluth.
Yes, and Jenny McLaughlin also added this through our Patreon member. She said that it was Grandma's Saloon and Grill. It was the only place that would sponsor the race when it first started. And Grandma's Marathon kept getting bigger and bigger, and eventually Grandma's could no longer afford to be the sole sponsor. So then a lot more establishments got involved, and now a whole bunch of them do, but the marathon ends right nearby Grandma's.
Oh, well, that's really cool that they kept the name, to honor the people that supported them when no one else would.
I totally agree. And it sounds like they still support. It's just they don't solely support.
Right. It gets so large that they can't afford it. But he said, Paul says, you never know what the weather's going to be. It can be anywhere from 40 to 80. And that the second time they did it, when they woke up, they had a half an inch of snow on their tent.
Yikes.
I can't even imagine trying to run a marathon in the snow.
Or sleeping in a tent the night before.
Well, I can't imagine sleeping in a tent, period.
Yeah, that would never happen.
Not marathon related.
Well, I would sleep in a tent.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the night before a marathon. Although it would make your travel to the start line much easier.
I suppose.
Yeah.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5. You told us your favorite classes. Now we'll tell everyone else what your favorite classes were.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, your favorite music-themed run.
This was taught by Olivia Amato. It was the 30-minute Tate McRae run, and Ali Long recommended this class, saying it's so good when an instructor is clearly passionate about the artist and brings that energy to class. I don't know if that was shade to Robin or not. Not sure. A great playlist with variable length intervals makes this class fly by. He had never heard much of Tate McRae's music before, but he says it sends this middle-aged British guy down a Spotify rabbit hole of youthful dating angst and drama. I love that.
That's awesome. Number 2, your favorite strength class.
Okay, so this was taught by Rebecca Kennedy because, I mean, she's been on our list every week for weeks now.
Yeah.
20-minute arms and shoulders, and this was from January 7th. What Kel reads included this class, and she said the playlist and energy were great. The class was difficult and super effective, but without being overwhelming. Definitely a class she plans on repeating.
Okay, number 3, your favorite ride.
Your buddy Sam Yo taught this class, 15-minute hit ride. And this is back from December 1st of this last year. Becky Gomez recommended this class, and she said this ride has an all musical theater playlist, including The Greatest Showman, Dear Evan Hansen, and Wicked.
How about that? He gives great theatrical advice.
He does.
He sent us to see Guys and Dolls, which I would have never seen on my own.
Well, Becky said she hardly ever takes repeat rides, and she has taken this 3 times already, just from December 1st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Number 4, your favorite walk run.
Okay, so Mariana Fernandez taught this class. It is a 75-minute walk plus run, and it's from January 23rd. And we had 2 people who recommended it. Julie Brewer said
last week's guest.
Yes, that was. She said the class was amazing and everything she needed. It checked the physical, mental, and emotional exercise boxes. Do not skip this one. Cindy Ingham agreed, and she said she plans on taking it several times, and they said Julie plans on doing that too. If they can take it a few times, you can try it once. That's from Tina. Tina added that.
Well, you know what? You probably won't be taking them multiple times.
What's that?
Number 5, you're unstackable.
Okay, that is true. So this comes from a program. So as we alluded to earlier, the only way to link to this is to go to the actual program and start it. Now, the easy part about this one is the 3-day intermediate split with Jess Sims. It's only 1 week long, so this one's easy to link to because it's day 1. Very easy to get to. Karen Smith nominated this upper body push class, and her first words about it were, holy cow. She said, of course, Jess would do a split that's all 45-minute classes. She coaches to progressive loading, but also has increasing rest periods throughout. This class had no cardio, only heavy lifting to get to muscle fatigue. That's great. Fabulous.
We now turn our eyes to this week at Peloton. We've got classes to keep your streak alive beyond January. We'll start with meditation for anxiety. Why would anyone need that right now?
I don't know. It's so crazy to even consider that. So there's a 5-minute meditation for anxiety that is taught by Dr. Chelsea Roberts. I stopped.
You forgot the Jackson.
Dang it. God, what is wrong with me and this name? Why can I not say it?
I don't know.
Dr. Chelsea Jackson Roberts. I got it.
There you go.
Okay. But it's going to be on demand. It's going to be available on demand January 29th. So by the time you hear this, it will already be out, which is a perfect way for you to find a moment of calm during a busy day.
And we also have Core with Robin. And I'm looking at this picture, and not that Robin hasn't always been in shape, but she looks like
she is built.
She looks very jacked here. Like,
she is swole.
Like she's been doing, like, focusing on strength training in the way that she hasn't maybe previously.
She's been focusing on those high rocks trainings. And so we talked about that months ago now, but it is like dog sled pushes and really quick movements. She did a high rocks competition. Like, it's intense. So she is lifting heavy.
So I'm not crazy. Like, I was hesitant to say anything because I know you're supposed to comment on people's money. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick or a perv. I'm just like, but like, her arms look huge here.
Yeah, she's getting Tunde sculpting happening on those arms, which, to be fair, she might have had before. We're just seeing it from a different angle. So that's possible.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering, like, is it just an angle thing, but anyway. Core with Robin.
It is. And I think I had this later on the list, so we won't need to talk about it again. But this is a 15-minute core strength session, but it features foam rolling. That is new. Robin has never taught a class like that. So that is new. That will be on demand January 29th. So by the time you hear this, it'll already be out as well.
We also have new scenic classes.
We do. The latest classes are taking place in locations like Cambodia and beyond. They're going to be for the bike, the tread, and the row, and those all go live on January 29th as well.
And then finally, we have new Vinyl Vault.
Yes, and that is Hannah Corbin's signature series. It's one of her signature series. We haven't had these for a while, so clearly a new season is starting. This classes will be available on January 31st. I think that'll be live, but I'm not sure. It's hard to tell these days.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll now take a look at what's on the Clipouts radar for things that you should keep on your radar. We will start with something that's already occurred that you might want to circle back around to, a 75-minute walk run with Mariana. We
just talked about this in our TCO Top 5.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying we just talked about it. I was like, oh my God, how do I not remember that at all?
This was one of our top 5s. It was number 4 this week.
Phew.
So, yeah.
I know you hate it when I do that. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to get yelled at on the episode.
I was saying, you were talking about how long this episode was. I was trying to keep it going, keep it moving.
Okay. Iconos Latinos. I think we talked about this last week.
We did. There were 4 new classes dropping, and there was including a 2-for-1 with Camila and Rad. But there were also 2 classes with Mariana. There was going to be a run and a flow, and then there was also a ride with Camila.
And we have 4 new split programs.
We do. And we have talked about these before, so I'll just quickly say Rebecca had the first ever Split Plus hiking program. Marcel Maurer added the tread to his split roster, and Ben added a 4-day program to his list of strength offerings. And then, of course, Jess Sims with her first split that we also just talked about in the TCO Top 5.
We also have Lunar New Year classes.
We do, yeah. Actually, they are taking place right now because it's Lunar New Year today.
Okay.
And these classes are taking place with Emma and Sam, a walk with, those are rides, sorry. A walk with Susie and a full body strength with Katie. So these all dropped later. I don't know if we put it over in the bonus or not, but there are some really cool pictures from this, including people dressed up as a dragon who came into the UK studio.
Actually, we'll talk about that right after this.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And then Camila has a live DJ run with Subaxis.
Okay, I thought this was Seabass.
Seabass? Okay. I was like, because it's... I don't know
the X's are in there. I don't know. This is a great question.
And then I'm like, but Subaxis sounds like a drug.
It does.
Try Subaxis.
Yeah.
Ask your doctor if Subaxis...
Or a Latin, I don't know, Polyterit or whatever they called him, an aristocrat from Latin times.
Ask your doctor if Subaxis is right for you.
Yes, but the interesting thing that you want to note about this is that it is a live DJ run. So whether you pronounce it Seabaxis or Seabass, because we don't know.
We don't know because we're old.
He or she, the DJ, will be there.
It's a he based on the picture.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was that picture. Yeah. And this is the first live DJ run that Camila has done.
Okay.
So they're both new to this platform. So that's really cool.
Don't take Subaxis if you're allergic to Subaxis.
That's true.
Don't stab yourself in the face if you're allergic to being stabbed in the face.
That's always good advice.
And finally, we have a 45-minute yoga and Pilates class.
Yeah, there's been several of the 30-minute. So when we get a 45-minute yoga plus Pilates, that is super exciting. Next one is going to be, that will be next Monday morning on February 3rd.
Remember when I said finally? I was not right. We have the Run Club.
Oh, yes. The Peloton Run Club. Now, they have outdoor runs all the time in the UK. And the next one was today, and it was with Susie and Hannah Frankson, and they were celebrating Lunar New Year.
There you go. Adit teased on Instagram that she'll be traveling to do some new Peloton content.
That we did talk about last week. We are all curious to see what that ends up looking like. And don't forget, in a couple of weeks, PSNY is going to be getting its own British invasion because John Husky will be here. We did talk about this a few weeks, but I think it's worth repeating because Husky has been posting a lot of content on his personal IG. He's been taking a lot of Power Zone classes, a lot of Matt Wilper's classes. Could there be a special announcement coming? He has already said he will be in the Matt Wilper's class on Valentine's Day. Oh. So make of that what you will.
We were also talking about the Lunar New Year and some fun stuff they were doing over at PSL.
Yeah.
And they had some people dressed up like a dragon.
Yeah, really cool. They came in and they had on a costume, and it was like what you would see, in traditional Lunar New Year going down the parade float, but like on a smaller scale.
Sure.
Just a really fun, gorgeous costume. That was really cool.
And they had a bunch of people there. Susie Chan was posting about it on her Instagram. I guess they had special food, and a lot of people showed up for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they showed up for Peloton and the instructors, and she was like, I think they're here for the food. I'm sure that didn't hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure. Plus, Susie Chan had also, Susie and I think it was Hannah both like dressed up in red whenever they did their class today for the Lunar New Year. So it looked like everybody was having a lot of fun.
Yeah. There is a new Strength Plus program, and if you haven't tried it yet, maybe this will get you to give it a shot because it's with Adrian.
Yeah. And people love to look at Adrian. This is an interesting one. It's called Thunder 5x5. So it's going to be 5 days of workouts, and they look like they're all barbell.
Okay.
Again, this is on the Strength Plus platform. So only iOS members in the United States can use this.
Gotcha.
But I do want to just kind of point that out because I know people will be like, where is it? I can't find it on the app. That's where you can find it. Strength Plus.
You can also now share custom workouts from the Strength Plus app.
Yeah, they just released this update this week, and you can, so anything that you create in the workout generator, you can now share. You just use the top dot. It's like 3 dots in the top right, and you can put those in. They also added logging weights and reps. You could already do that, but they made it a little bit easier to do. So that'll help you be able to track your weights and reps.
Finally, for this segment, Rad Lopez will have a 60-minute strength class coming up for you.
Yeah, to our knowledge, this is his first 60-minute strength class. So that's really cool. Very exciting. Congrats to Rad.
Peloton birthdays.
Only one birthday this week from former Peloton instructor. It belongs to Daniel McKenna, who celebrates his birthday on February 4th.
Well, happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday. Coming up after this, we have our interview of the week. We're going to talk to Tyler Plank, yoga instructor extraordinaire, and, believe it or not, her real name. We'll talk about that.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Tyler Plank. Hey, Tyler, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
It's going good.
That's awesome. I always like to start these conversations by getting a little background of how you originally found Peloton and decided it would be a good match for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. It came up upon not by my plan. So my husband several years ago started talking about back when it first started becoming a little bit more popular, like they started introducing it into hotel rooms and hotels, fitness centers. So he would travel and he would see it and he would talk about it and he was all pumped. He wanted to get it. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not paying that money. We have gym memberships. We can run outside. It just was, I did not think it would be for me. So fast forward a couple years and I started working at a certain yoga studio. And my friend said she had gotten one and she's like, you have to. It's amazing. You will be hooked the second you get on it because we're a lot alike. We've known each other for several years. And I was like, oh, all right. And I went full force, went in, test rode, bought it, had it, waited for it to be delivered, got on, and I was hooked right away.
Okay.
And I was also I quit my gym and I was just kind of running a lot, and I wanted to not have to join another gym. I liked the idea of working from home, working out from home. I had started my own private yoga sessions at home. So I had a fitness area designated. And so I just really liked that idea. And running outside was not working for me anymore. It was just too much on my joints. And although I didn't like spin classes, I was told that I would like this. So got hooked, and the rest is history. Now I do all the things. I got the treadmill, and do all the classes.
Okay. So you ended up with a bike and a treadmill?
Yeah. So I got the bike about 5 years ago. The treadmill came 2 years ago. Again, the same person, Marisol Tufty. Shout out to Marisol. She said she got the tread, and she was like, "You got to get it." And I was like, "Oh, it's so hard on my joints." She's like, "Not like this." She's like, and she doesn't like running at all. So, and I'm a runner. So,
okay. And if it was 2 years ago, I assume that was probably the regular tread as opposed to the tread plus, just from the timing.
So the tread plus had come out, so it may not have been maybe more like a year and a half, because the tread plus had come out, but I didn't want to spend the extra money because we already had
totally.
No, I get, it's a big investment.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
Yes.
And so you said you have your own yoga studio like you do at home. Are you taking Peloton yoga classes as well?
So I don't do that anymore. I don't do the private lessons anymore. I quit that before COVID.
Okay.
And I teach at a studio. I've taught at various studios, but this one I've taught it for the past 5 or 6 years. And it's like a whole community. So that's my yoga community. And I've got the Peloton community. I don't take as much yoga from Peloton because I do it so much and I teach it so much that I just want to do
other things.
The strength and the cycling and the hiking and the running.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I was wondering the same thing. Is it like an interesting avenue to go down, or are you like, I do it all day, I'm good?
Yeah, I do it all day, and I'm very particular about the way I teach with yoga. And I've taken a couple, and it just isn't for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, what has your fitness level been like throughout your life? Have you always been into exercise, or is it a relatively recent occurrence?
I grew up in the middle of the city in Chicago, and my grade school didn't have really fitness or sports. And then I went to high school. It did. I went to a private high school that was very prestigious, and I couldn't play any sports, and I didn't want to not play sports. So I tried a couple things out, and running is what really stuck with me. So I joined the cross country and the track teams. I was always an avid runner ever since I was 14. And then throughout college, I just did my own thing with running, and then worked in fitness centers. Like, that was just my thing. I liked anatomy and how to get faster, how to improve, and all the things with fitness. And I only got into strength training. I didn't start strength training 'cause back then, I was born in 1976. So back then it was all about like cardio for girls and like getting faster. That was like the thing.
Yeah, totally.
And then when I turned 39, I'm like, we need to start working on strength and not just lifting light weights, but we need to lift heavy and bone density. Like, I'm always researching all the things about fitness and how to stay agile, mobile, young, live a long life. So my priority shifted from being a faster runner to wanting to live long and healthy and have a functional life.
That's great.
That's a good shift.
It is a good shift.
Healthy shift, like psychologically.
I'm not sure if I've answered your question.
No, you totally did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, though, when it comes to lifting heavy on Peloton, I'm curious what instructors you gravitate toward from a strength perspective.
So I tried them all out. I had to find my niche, and it's definitely Rebecca Kennedy.
Yeah, she's really come into her own on the strength in the last year and a half or so. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely.
What is it about her that resonates with you? My
priorities are also shifted with strength training. So I started with, I loved, and I still do, Jess Sims, because I loved metabolic conditioning. I love the sweat. I love being able to, have cardio and strength at the same time. And then I started trickling into Rebecca Kennedy's just by chance. And I loved how she educates you. She's like, it's not just metabolic conditioning. There's a place for everything. You can also lift heavy. And then just other things that I've read, like especially with women, we lose our bone density, we lose our muscle mass as we age. And so that just made sense to me. So that resonated because I feel like that's applicable to my life where I'm at now in this stage. And then just, she's funny. She's not afraid to throw around the F-bomb. She's unapologetically herself. She dances. She's never embarrassed, even if she like makes mistakes or says the wrong thing. It's just like, oh, whatever. So all of that.
So how did you become a yoga instructor? Like, what was that journey like?
So my shift from running, when I got pregnant, I stopped running. I was afraid to do anything back in the day. Now it's changed, but I was just wanted to stay active, but didn't want to run, didn't want to jeopardize my pregnancy. So I started yoga and went back to running after I had my daughter, and was introduced to more of a power yoga when I was 32, and that everything clicked. You know, I had strength, I had the sweat, I had flexibility. I got my flexibility back. I never thought I would get it back. I used to be very flexible as a young child, doing splits and all that. And I was like, I'll never touch my toes again. Like, I was one of those, like, I'm just too old. And then yoga taught me that you're never too old. And I was able to do all of that and more with just the dedication of coming to the practice at least 3 times a week. So just seeing the changes and feeling the changes and like better sleep, loved it. And then my husband and I moved around a lot. My family moved around a lot for his work. And the final move, I was like, I was a professional photographer and a lot of things, but I was mostly a professional photographer at the later years. And when we moved the last time, I said, I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want to relocate my business yet again. I want to take yoga teacher training. And then I thought I was just going to do it just to deepen my practice and just focus on me and taking care of myself. And fell in love with that. So started teaching right away. Didn't take any break. I just delved into it. Like, you learn if you do. I wasn't afraid to just step in the role. And that was 2014. So that's it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So what is power yoga? I don't know what that is.
It's more fitness based. And I've been fortunate to where the studio I work at, she lets me be me. So I started teaching power. It's more of a fast paced. It's more one breath, one movement, or incorporating more cardio or more like strength, like chaturangas, push-ups, things like that make it more of a power rather than just like a flow or a stretch or it's a workout. And then I started incorporating weights into it. So now I teach power sculpt, and I incorporate a lot from my learnings through Peloton instructors into my practice and how I teach. So it's been very inspiring. It's made my practice, myself, and my teaching grow exponentially in just about 5 years. So it's been amazing. Peloton's added to my life in pretty much every single way.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
What about how you personally balance between your workouts, between running and teaching yoga and the bike? Like, how are you keeping all of that balanced out?
I'm pretty extra. So I do it all. I've always been extra like that. And a little backstory to that is my mom and my grandpa had Parkinson's, and then my mom had Parkinson's, and she recently passed. And so when she was diagnosed, I was like, I'm going to move and do all the things until my body shuts down or my mind shuts down. So I look at it very much. And another thing that resonates with Peloton, it's a privilege. It's a choice. I can't help that I'm aging, but I can help if I'm getting stronger. I can help if I'm doing the things that nourish my mind and my body. So different days I do different things. I'm not going to do all the things every single day. So I'll balance. If I'm teaching, I will just do strength training. If I'm not teaching, I'll do cardio and strength training. So and I'll take recovery days on Sundays or Saturdays, depending on the schedule. But I just do it that way. And my kids are in school. That's my job, is teaching yoga. So I don't have a full-time job to contend with. I'm very blessed and honored and privileged in that way. So I have the time to do those things.
So when you teach a class, is that like a full workout for you, or is there a way to lessen that so you can still do other things?
So that's also an interesting aspect. Through yoga teacher training, you're not taught to do the class with the students. You're taught to walk around and do hands-on assists and just teach it verbally, or even stay in the same spot for a while. So it's not a workout the way you're taught.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's how I was taught. But the teacher that the teacher that instructed me in the teacher training, she did do that. She did all those things. So I'm like, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And then with Peloton, I love that they're doing it with you. I'm like, they feel what you feel, you know, so it feels fair. So I started teaching that way, doing it all with the class. I'll take breaks, and I encourage everyone to take breaks. So that's been, so it's a workout. And the way I was taught and the way I'm obsessed with cueing and anatomy, I do both the teaching, the doing, the cueing. And I'm very, since I'm not walking around and assisting, getting people into the right positions, especially with the power sculpt class, it's not really applicable. You're not going to walk around and like get people further into a pose. It's more of an instruction of doing the weights and doing the cardio. So I'll cue things like I'm told that I'm like the best cuer, because I'll cue like what muscles to engage, what muscles to open, when to breathe, soften your face, tap into ease. And I'm talking the entire time I'm doing it. So it's more than a workout. But Peloton makes me stronger to do that because I'm doing extra. I'm doing weights on top of that, and I'm lifting heavy. So I have that muscular and cardiovascular endurance where I can talk through it.
Okay. And so when it comes to you taking personal, like your own classes at home, how do you choose classes? Are you a person that chooses by instructor? Do you choose by music? Like what makes you choose a class?
It depends on what type of a day it is. So if it's like an easy day, I'll choose by music. I'll choose like 90s hip hop's my jam. I love Robin Arzón for that. So if it's a bike class or a tread class for running, I'll choose that way. Strength, I've gotten more particular. Like I'll filter for hardest if it's a hard day, and I'll usually filter for Rebecca Kennedy. And it wasn't always that way. It's just how it's probably not always going to be that way. And that's what's also great about Peloton is it's always shifting and growing, and you have the ability to try different things and then see what resonates with you. What resonates with me may not resonate with someone else, and vice versa. So, but I usually filter for hardest if it's a hard day, and I filter for music if it's a more laid back day.
So do you have a preferred instructor that's different for like the bike or the tread than for strength workouts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Tunde. She's in it with you. She has her little slogans. I love like your mind is your strongest muscle. I love Robin when I want it to be hard. Like I just did Robin today, her latest Hit and Hills 30-minute. And I was like, that was perfect. There was little to no recovery, and I felt gassed and done at 30 minutes. Whereas sometimes I can just go down a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh, that was good. I got the sweat in, but I really feel like I need like a extra Tabata. So, but I love Cody when I'm in a fun mood. There's really no one that I love Allie when I want to feel good. Like she inspires me. And she's got, she's very inspirational in the way she teaches. And I love that she calls herself a Tabata purist. I love that. But they're all great in their own ways.
So what is your leaderboard name?
It's Down Dog to Plank. So when I got married, my last name was Born Plank. And when I got married, I didn't change it to honor my late father, not knowing that several years later I'd be a yoga instructor. And so as a child, I was teased and made fun of, like, walk the plank. Like that was the way kids made fun of me. So I never kind of made that connection that as a yoga instructor, Plank is perfect. And then someone's like, is that your stage or your social name? Like Tyler Plank, haha. And I was like, oh, no, it's not actually. And it was by accident that I kept, not by accident, but not by that intention that I kept it. So it ended up being like destiny. So Down Dog to Plank, Down Dog because I'm a yoga instructor. And again, shout out to Marisol Tufte. She helped me. She's really good with leaderboard names and things like that. I'm not. I'm very like literal. So she's like, yeah, you should be like Down Dog to Plank. So like, the pose, like how you go from Down Dog to Plank. And so whenever when an instructor accused that, like in a warm up or whatever, I'm like chuckling, like, oh, that's a little shout out for me.
That is a very clever way to get extra shout outs.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Really smart. I will say, when I saw your name pop up, I thought it was like it was an Instagram name or something like that, because I know that you teach yoga. So that's exactly what I thought. So do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
I think the best thing, well, it depends on like what your style is. If you're very competitive and you like against yourself, like I'm always me versus me, the whole power zone thing, like getting that bar, that was when I was like, okay, I'm in, because I know how I can get better through that metric. And if it's more like you just want to move and stay moving or get moving, just schedule a time, stick to it, get on it, schedule like a 5-minute warm up or a 15-minute low impact. Once you get moving, either that's enough or you'll want to do more. And the same with like the strength, just start beginner and do what you can. And then eventually just stick with it. When I started strength before Peloton, I didn't love it. I just did it because I knew I needed it. But when I started strength with Peloton, I loved it because I was doing it on my terms with the weights I chose and doing the body movements that I like, an upper body versus lower body. Whereas when I was at the gym, at a fitness-based or a group-based gym, it was like, this day is this day is that, like they designed the program. They told you what you were going to do. And some days I didn't want to do upper body. I'm like, I've had enough upper body. And some days I didn't want to do lower body because I had gone for a long run. So I'm like, that didn't work for me. So I hated it. I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. So with Peloton, I get to choose my schedule. I get to pick what I want to do. So I love that about it. And then now I love strength. Like I can't not do it.
Well, I don't think anybody ever wants to do lower body. That just seems to be the general theme.
Spoken like a true man.
He never skips leg day, though. Never skips leg day.
I never skip. So
that's good.
I have a tonal. I don't really do Peloton, but I have a tonal, and I like it because I hate to exercise, and I didn't start till I was like 50, but it has programs, and so and I always do the programs because I will do whatever is next in front of me. And so because of that, I will never skip leg day because it's next.
It's programmed in, so he'll do it.
I might hate
It's
it.
up there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Might take a lot of breaks while I'm doing it.
But you will do it.
But I will do it. Well,
and that's how I used to be about upper body. I'm like, I don't want to do upper body. I don't want to get bulky. And it's a total shift. Like that's the time I grew up. I was a woman. I didn't want to be like strong. And I'm like, the times have changed. And so now when I teach my students, my clients, I'm like, women, upper body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Men, let's do legs.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
such a common misconception that it's like, if it were that easy to bulk up, everyone would be walking around bulked up.
That's right.
Like
and it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nothing people should be scared of.
It's true.
And a lot of calories.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
Also true. Well, Taylor, thank you so much. Tyler, I'm sorry.
Why don't you say that over time?
Yeah. So Tyler, thank you so much
all the time.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you in all the places, assuming, of course, you would like to be found.
Thank you for having me. I'm mainly on Instagram, Tyler Plank Yoga, Tyler, P like Paul, Lank, yoga.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Flip out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can also find me on Blue Sky, Threads, and the Facebook groups, I guess, and also the Peloton platform at Clip Out Crystal. And you can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Of course, don't forget our Patreon, which we're going to go record right now. Maybe at some point we'll get to eat dinner tonight. Maybe. But that's over at patreon.com/The Clip Out. $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you a little extra. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling and running and rowing. Bye. Clip in, set yourself free.